Hey gang, workout number 20, we're gonna do some running today. And our running is gonna be focused, we're gonna focus on our cadence while we run, right? So we're gonna go through a dynamic warm up, get some ankles, knees, and hip circles in there, stretch our calves, quads, and hammies. And then our skill work today, we're gonna do 8 rounds of 15-second Tabata, so 15 seconds of work and also 15 seconds of rest. Odd minutes we're doing a plank. So the first movement, when the Tabata starts, it's going to be a 15-second plank, right? And we're doing the planks because we're trying to get our core ready to plank basically essentially while we're running. We need to keep all that tight in our abs and our core, right? The less our body moves around while we're running, the stiller we can keep our body, the more energy we will conserve, right? And that we'll be able to chant. We don't want to move around so much, be loose in our core because we're going to waste a lot of energy propelling ourselves as we run, right? And not only to mention, maintaining a tight core will help things like keep your back and everything else over the long haul if you run a lot as you get older. All right, so the even minutes is when we're going to focus on our cadence, right? So you're going to need to like to do this up against a wall or a post or something you can lean against, right? And it's going to be almost look like a combination between a high knee and a butt kicker, right? And our goal here over that 15 seconds is to have somewhere between 40 and 46 steps. Right now, I know that sounds like a lot when you're doing the math in your head, but it's really not that bad. It's pretty easy to get 3 footfalls in a second, right? So typically when we're talking running distances and we're talking steps per minute, right? You'll see it abbreviated that way, SPM. We're looking, depending on the size of the runner, somewhere between 160 and 185, right? So you're going to count off your steps that you take in that 15 seconds, right? Our goal again is 40 to 46. You get to rest for another 15 seconds and then back to that plank. So you'll be in 4 sets of plank, 4 sets of cadence running in place, right? After you're done there, take a moment, grab some water, catch a breath. It's going to elevate your heart rate really high if you're not used to running, moving that kind of footfall pace. And then our workout today, right? 5K or 30 minutes, right? This is kind of like you just won a gold medal if you got here, right? Everyone else is just going to be working in this kind of 30-minute window. And what we're trying to do is just run as far or as long as we can, maintaining this cadence, right? And I would rather only see you run for 100 yards, right? Maintaining this cadence really strictly, and then walk for 200 versus doing the opposite, or running for, 400 meters and being all over the place with your cadence, just trying to get the distance done, right? We want to try and build discipline in our cadence. And it's going to feel like when you go to employ this cadence out on a run, it's going to be really mentally challenging for a couple of different reasons. It's going to feel like you're going slower at first, mostly because it's going to feel like you're doing more work and your feet are not going as far. Because as we take faster footfalls, yes, we cannot take as long as strides as we typically might. And that is a good thing, right? The more steps we can take in a minute of running, the more we're distributing the force and load throughout on our joints over more steps, right? It's the same concept if we talk about lifting weights or back squatting, right? It's kind of the same concept if we looked at, okay, we're gonna move 500 pounds today in back squatting. We can split that 500 pounds up into 5 reps of 100 pounds or 1 rep of 500 pounds. Which one is gonna cause more strain on your body, right? We want to distribute that workout over more reps, that load, right? And that's essentially what we're doing here by increasing our steps per minute as we run, right? So go out for it, try and stay disciplined, right? Run where you can maintain that cadence, back off to a walk when you lose it, right? And then, this is something we're gonna probably do a couple times this summer, try and building up our running endurance, right? And hope you enjoy it and stay focused. Try not to zone out. Do not just listen to any kind of music because you're going to end up running at the cadence of your music. So if you do want to listen to music, there are, if you go to Spotify, I know you can listen to songs that are a certain beat per minute, and you can find songs in that 180-ish beats per minute that you can listen to that will help you maintain that cadence. You can also use an app on your phone like Runkeeper, right? Which will count off your cadence and say it in your ear if you're wearing headphones, right? So go out, enjoy it. This is a great one to practice and get good at. If you ever drive around the Mystic Lakes and see all those people running, once you learn how to run properly and you see other people out there, you'll start to cringe when you see them running and you figure out the right way to do it. Again, it's going to be hard at first, but if you stick with it, long term, it's going to pay off and make running distance feel a whole lot better and easier. All right. Hey teens. All right, so let's go into our dynamic warm-up. Get ready for our running drills and our run today. So we're going to start just with some joint mobility work. Let's get some ankle circles. We're going to get 5 in each direction on each ankle. All right. And then we're going to bring our feet together, knees together, and we're going to get knee circles. We're going to get 5 again in each direction. And then spread those feet apart, round squat stance, and we're getting some hip circles. All right. Again, 5 each way. And then from here, we're going to go into a calf stretch. All right. So I'm just going to use post of my rig over here. You can use a wall if you need to, or stair works really great. So ball the foot against the wall, the post of the step, and I'm just going to keep my knee straight, hug my hips in towards the post. All right. I'm going to hold this for about 15 seconds here. And then switch legs. So we're going to have our cadence drills after our stretch here. You're going to want to have a timer, or there's apps you can download on your phone, a Tabata timer, or a running metronome. Works really well. You can download those as well. And there's other apps out there too, running apps that will help count your cadence for you. All right, so we got our quad stretch, calf stretch done. We're going to come down to a hamstring stretch, right? We're going to have one foot in front of the other, right? Toes slightly behind the heel. My stance is slightly staggered, right? I'm going to pull up that front toe towards me, hinge at the waist, keep my back nice and straight, and reach down towards my heel, right? I'm going to hold this for about a 15 count. And then switch legs. All right, let's come up. We'll come back to that wall, that post, or something to hold on to, right? We're going to go into a quad stretch here. Just grab the back of your foot. We want to keep our knees together here, and we want to squeeze our bellies and squeeze our butts. What we don't want to do is let our back arch and our hips shoot forward, right? Just want to pull that heel up towards our butt, keeping our knees together, core tight, butt squeeze. Another 5 seconds. And then we'll switch legs. So after we finish this stretch, go ahead and pause the video if you need to. Grab your cell phone or smartphone, whatever they call it these days, and look up see if you can find a Tabata timer, get that set up if you can, or if you want to get a running app that has a metronome, a cadence beat on it, or there's also music you can download for later when we go for a run that will play at the right beat that you need for your footfalls. That can help a lot. All right, so go ahead, pause the video, grab your phone, set up a timer, and come right back and we'll get working on that skill work. All right, gang, so hopefully you got a timer set up. I'm gonna use a timer here. You'll hear the beep go off. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do Tabata, 15 seconds of work, 15 seconds of rest. We're gonna be doing 2 movements. One is gonna help us reinforce good running posture, and that's going to be a plank. That's what we're going to start with. So there'll be a plank on the odd minutes. And then on the even minutes, we're going to do some running in place. The best way to do this is if you have a wall or something you can lean forward against, because we want to slightly forward lean when we run, right? And we want to drive our knees up and also kind of drive our heels towards our butt. So it looks like this as we're picking our feet up off the floor, right? When we come down, we want to come straight down towards the ground, right? Ball of our foot is landing first, but then our heel comes down all the way second, right? So we're not just going to be on the balls of our feet. We're going to try and have a full footfall if we can, all right? So the cadence that we're looking for, right, and is somewhere ideally depending on the size you are. So the bigger person you are, the longer your leg length, generally the less cadence you have, so the fewer steps per minute, right? That's what we're talking when we talk about cadence. We're talking about how many steps you take in a minute of running, how many times your feet hit the ground, right? And over the course of a minute, depending on how big you are, we're looking for somewhere between 160 and 185 falls per minute. For most people that have never trained this, and this is specifically if you're doing long distance running, so anything, we're talking about a mile or greater, and generally, you're going to want to start paying attention closely to your cadence. And this mainly because it makes our running more efficient over the long term, over the long distances. And it also makes it less stressful and impactful on our body. The more footfalls we can take for a given distance, the more we're distributing that load per footfall, right? And there's going to be a little bit of an illusion that happens when you guys practice this out on the road, that it's going to make you feel like you're going slower and shortening your footfall and your stride length. And you're going to feel like you're maybe not going to be going as fast as if you took a really long stride. And that is really an illusion. When you start practicing this and being disciplined in your footfalls and you put a clock on you, you're going to realize you're actually running a lot faster, but it feels differently because you're working at a higher repetition pace. So that part's going to feel harder, but the actual effort involved in each footfall is less. So it creates this illusion of, oh, I feel like I'm going slower, but you're not. All right. So I'm going to start our Tabata clock, and I'm going to show you quickly around. You'll see what the plank looks like, and you'll see what the cadence drill, I'm going to do it up against, leaning against the post here, looks like. And I'm going to try and count off my footfalls in that 15-second chunk. I'll multiply it by 4, right? So we're just keeping track of what we do in the 40 to 15 seconds. We're looking for something between 40 and 45 footfalls in that 15 second. So I'm going to start my Tabata timer. Right. And I'm going to come down and hold this plank position, right? Tight core. It's the same thing we want to do when we're running, right? We want our abs engaged, right? We don't want to have our hips in front of us. We want everything aligned with our core nice and tight. All right? So I get the rest for these next 15 seconds. And then going on to the next round, right? Up against the post, or you can do it against the wall. So that was 45. So it's not that difficult to do in that 15 seconds to hit that number. What will be difficult to do is maintaining that, because that is a fast pace. So I'm going to turn my timer off so it stops beeping. Right? So we're going to do 8 rounds total, right? 4 rounds will be planks. 4 rounds will be that cadence step, right? Counting off in your head, our target is somewhere 40 to 45 steps in that 15-second mark. All right, go to it. All right, so your heart rate's probably pretty high up there after doing those cadence drills. All right, so our goal on our run today, it's a 5K, which is, if people who've been running for a really long time will struggle unless you're basically a real dedicated runner to hold their cadence over 5K. Unless you're used to running 10Ks and doing that, then maybe a 5K is easy, right? But if a 5K is farther than you've ever run before, right, your expectation here is just to basically work for about 30 minutes, right? So for most of you, probably 99.9% of you, maybe there's a couple really good runners in our group that might come close to getting that 5K while maintaining the cadence. And that is basically the challenge for today. I only want you running while you're maintaining that 160 to 185 steps per minute, which is that 40 to 45 every 15 seconds. So again, if you have an app on your phone that can count your cadence, you can look at it and get actual feedback, or it will play, it'll tell you your cadence in your headphones while you're running. So there's a couple running apps out there that do that on your phone. Really highly recommended. Or you can play music that is designed to be at a certain footfall to help you run and maintain cadence. So if you find yourself falling off cadence, right, dropping down to 140, 130 steps per minute, I want you to stop, right, walk for a little while until you can recuperate, gain your energy back, right, and then try and run again and see how far you can get, maintaining that nice 160 to 185 or so cadence footfalls per minute, right? So, if you get this, as I said, it's going to be really challenging. It's going to be mentally challenging. You're going to have to stay focused. You cannot zone out when you're practicing this kind of running, because as soon as you try to zone out, you're going to slow down your footfalls. All right. So try and stay disciplined. Keep the running segment short if you need to, right? It's better to do it for a short distance, maintaining tempo and maintaining cadence, than doing it for a really long distance and being all over the place in your cadence, right? So, because we're trying to build skill here in our running skills. All right, so 5K or 30 minutes, only run while you can maintain that proper cadence. Again, 40 to 45 steps in 15 seconds, or about 160 to 180. Again, use an app in your phone if you have one. Runkeeper is one that comes to mind that I know keeps track of cadence and will tell you your cadence through your headphones while you're running. It will also tell you how far you've run. All right, and then make sure you get a good cool down, have some water, and enjoy the rest of your week.